from the ashes. Wear your crown. No fear, no chains. Break the mold, forge your destiny. Fierce and bold.
It helps if you mute the microphone. Let's try that again. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. I am joined by OVP himself and Half-Ass Ready. How are you guys?
Good. Doing good.
Excellent, sir.
Got my coffee.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning back into our second episode. You are expecting a 4-person panel. Hopefully, Mike will be able to figure out. He's having a little bit of technical difficulty. He's working on it now, but we're going to go on as planned. So what we're going to do is go around and say hello, because I do see 1 or 2 new people here. So OVP, kick it off. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi, guys. Ohiovallyprepping here. Good evening, everybody. I see some new faces in here. Sherry, how you doing? Teresa's not new. Coffee, Cha-Cha, Love and Life. How you doing? I see she made a fire on her own the other night. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Good job. CUCV Farmer, how you doing? JBS, my man, what's up? So hope everybody had a good Father's Day. Weather was pretty nice here. We got a little bit of sprinkle, but nothing too crazy. So, yeah. Hope everybody had a good day.
Excellent. And Half Ready, your turn.
Hello, I'm Mark. I'm Half-Ass Ready. I am the countryside of this chat. But welcome in, especially you guys just showing up. Missed a good one last week if you didn't get here, but yeah, looking forward to tonight. Our first live guest. Yeah, it's gonna be a good night. So we've got a good guest. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll make it up. We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah. Well, Mike's just having some technical difficulties. You know, it happens. So
yeah.
That's what happens. StreamYard apparently just does not want everybody to go the way that it's supposed to. But I see a bunch of regular people as well as some new people. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. If you are new here, the way that this works is that this goes 100% by the chat. We come in with absolutely no knowledge of any questions that you guys want to ask us. So I, as the host for this week, I will be pulling questions out. We'll go around in the round robin and answer them, and we'll take it all from there. But first thing, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is Happy Father's Day, gentlemen.
Happy
Thank
Father's
you.
Day.
Happy Father's Day to you too.
Yeah, you guys.
I got a hat that matches my background.
I see that. I like it.
And I don't know about you guys. Oh, here he goes. Here we go. Hang on. Boom, there's my gap.
Hey,
that was struggle bus, man. Struggle bus. Holy cow. The PC here is melting down. I don't know if I downloaded something I shouldn't have or what's going on, but every time I opened a Chrome browser, I would get like 1 million Chrome browsers open, and I finally got one window to work, and I was like, okay, I can get in.
Perfect. Well, all you did is you missed introductions, which means it's your turn.
Hi, I'm Mike, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. I'm the late guy and the guest here, and I'm sorry, but I'm here.
Yeah,
that was easy.
We love it. Cheers to you, sir. Great to have you. And what you also missed, it is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Oh, yes. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. I don't know if you guys are all fathers, but I know I personally am, and I know Rural has little Rural, so I know there's at least one there, and I don't know about the rest of you guys, but happy Father's Day if you're dads. Appreciate you.
We have 5, but they're all grown, so we actually have 4 grandsons right now, too. So
awesome.
Yeah, I only have one, but he's a good one, so I'll keep him. But,
that's awesome.
PAMT, good to see you.
I don't know about you guys.
We had someone from Australia pop in, Susan, and I wanted to make a special hello to Susan from Australia.
Well, hello, Susan from Australia.
Good day. High Country Homestead.
Excellent.
So, hello to you.
Excellent. Yeah, we seem to have gone international. We've gotten some people from Australia. We've picked up, I know, talking with you gentlemen, we've picked up quite a few people of subscribers and whatnot. So that's what this is all about, is going through and make sure that we're connecting and networking and doing all that fun stuff. So we'll go ahead and we'll kick off. So if you guys have any questions, topics, concerns, anything that you would like to do, this is 100% by the chat, so drop everything in there. Let's see if I can find a good question for us to kick off with, because this isn't a question, but this is a good one. So somebody's already planted some seedlings and some other stuff. Has everybody got outside? Have we started planting for this year, you guys?
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh yeah, I got mine coming up real well, so real happy. I actually have about 3 tomatoes about that big already. So
perfect. OVP, you got stuff growing?
Yep. It was hard this year. We kept it'd get warm and then we'd have a frost, and then it'd get warm, we'd have a frost. So it just seemed like we're in standby mode forever. But yeah, it finally warmed up enough that we got some stuff going. So
good deal. And as I scroll through to find another question, let's stick on that topic. How are we going to deal in an SHTF situation when we have to be self-sufficient and we have to grow our own food? How are we going to deal with things like maybe you got bad seeds, maybe you got animals, birds getting your seeds, deer getting into your crops, maybe a drought?
Community, man. Community is going to be the way. If everybody's growing, hopefully somebody has some luck and abundance as well. So
yeah,
that's a big thing, man. I think the community is really going to have to help each other out in SHTF. And if everybody does this every man for themselves thing, it's going to be a big mess.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. I mean, and then also, the fact of the matter is, I don't care how prepared you are as a gardener. Okay, you could be prepared as you want to be. If you can't stock that stuff away for the winter, so while you're prepping your garden, I love it. I love gardening. I would garden if I had to throw the shit away, okay, because I love doing it. But you better be prepping the jars and the lids and the rings and equating yourself with how to can or salt cure, whatever it is you do, right? Whatever it is you do, tickling, whatever the hell it is you do.
Yeah.
Yep. Loving life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a lot of community to learn myself. So
yeah, great community to learn from.
Yes, yep. That's one right there. I'm glad that he brought up potatoes. For anybody who has never gardened, or maybe you tried something, try potatoes. They don't care. They grow in anything.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but every time I grow potatoes, I get these huge plants, man. Huge. I'm talking like they're taller than me. I put my hand up, I can barely reach the top of these things. Huge plants. And I get these little itty bitty, teeny tiny potatoes. What the heck am I doing wrong? I stacked, I had 2x4 rings that I made for like a raised bed. And I put a couple posts in the corner, and I would, somebody told me as they pop up, just put more dirt on them and it's more potatoes, Yeah. So I kept stacking, and I this thing looked like a Parks and Rec trash can, all built out of wood and everything. It was big, and these shoots were humongous, and I got all excited, and they let it die all the way, and then you harvest your potatoes, and ring after ring I'm taking off of the thing, and the dirt into the buckets, and I'm sifting through. I'm like, no potatoes yet, no potatoes yet. Every ring was just another ring of disappointment as I went down to find that there was 2 potatoes about that big at the very bottom of this thing, and that was it. That was all I did. I started with more eyes in there than I did yield. I don't know what I did wrong soil, wrong what, but I failed at potatoes.
Oh, interesting.
A couple of the comments said too much nitrogen, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably correct. Yeah, you have to scale back maybe your fertilize, but But potatoes, and it's also the type of potatoes you plant. Some potatoes don't yield as many potatoes. Now they may grow big potatoes or small potatoes. Right. Don't yield as many potatoes, but the little ones are my favorite anyway. So
Yeah,
if I had a
yeah.
shitload of little ones, I'd be happy anyway. I like the new taters, we call them down here. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind the little ones, just as long, a few more of them would be nice.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, right.
I hear you.
Yep.
But,
Yep. You tried the topping of them, and I agree. The little ones are very, very good. So we'll stick with that. In an SHTF situation, while we're putting back as much food and seeds and different things, what is a good crop? What would you recommend as like a really good thing to grow that's maybe calorie dense or bears a lot or something along those lines? What do you think?
For me, it's spinach, baby spinach, as much spinach as you can. I think that's one of the healthiest leafy greens that you can grow in the garden.
Yep, I agree.
And grow tater tots.
I hear you. Good.
What do you guys think? Ohio Valley, what's your pick?
Joe, my personal favorite is onions. I love growing onions because we eat onions on everything. So, and you can just eat onions by yourself. We're just pull them out of the ground, wash them, and eat them. You know.
Yeah.
So, I like onions, but that's my favorite thing to grow.
Half ready. What about you?
Well, I'm a big. I like half runner beans, and
Nice.
but you would have to round that out with some potatoes and some tomatoes. These things can easily, low acid stuff cans easily.
Yep.
So, but again, and spinach or kale or anything like that, you can pretty much grow year round down here anyway. Not quite year round, but pretty much in North Carolina. Yes, half-ass does love his tomatoes, son. He knows it, dude. I go out and talk to my tomato plants. I was out this morning. Hey, come on, Daddy needs a sandwich.
They like it, man. They like it.
But yeah, but half runner beans or Blue Lake snap beans, whatever it is you like, green beans, they got a high yield and they can easily.
Yeah,
They do. They do.
yeah. There's a lot to that you have to try and pick out your grow area. You know what you can grow in Maine, you may not be able to grow in Texas, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what it is that you're going to actually eat. You know, there's people that are picky and whatnot. Grow something you like. Start researching and grow one thing at a time. If you're just starting out, pick something, learn about it, get good at it, then you can add something later.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chat, man. There's like everybody's talking about their favorite vegetable. I mean, I'm seeing cabbages and rutabagas. I'm seeing all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So, awesome, though. I mean, yeah, you like what you like, grow what you like, too. But, again,
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking about that food preservation thing when
Yeah.
setting up that heritage garden. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Canning. If you can make jellies and jams and preserves, you still have to can those things after you make those. Dehydrate as much as you can. Make your dried spices and stuff like that. Cilantro is one I got going in the garden, as well as basil. Nobody wants a bland apocalypse, man. Come on.
No doubt.
And somebody was talking about the Amish earlier. They have you ever seen the freezer they do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a shed.
Freezers.
In case anybody's never seen this, they basically build a shed and they just insulate it to death. And I pulled up one day. I used to haul some Amish on the side, and I pulled up one day, and they were doing like a 15 by 15 frame. They had a tarp down in it. They were filling it with water, and it's January, and it's supposed to be like 20 below during the weekend. And the guy got in, and I said, "What are you guys doing?" And he said, "Oh, we're making ice."
There you go, bro.
Oh, okay. And I said, "What are you making ice for?" And he said, "Well, that shed's our freezer." And they just packed that thing full of ice. And I asked him, I said, "Well, what do you do in the summertime when the ice melts?" He said, "Oh, no." He said, "We still got ice in there from last year."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, no power. You don't have to worry about the electric going out. You could freeze stuff year round.
Yep.
Yeah, back in the olden days, they used to do all that with like straw and hay and clay, and they would, just make the ice houses.
Yeah.
That was big business here along the Hudson River. Folks would go out and cut ice and bring the blocks in to keep food refrigerated.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't an option down here in the South. That wasn't an option.
Well, it might get cold enough up in the mountains there to make ice.
Well, my grandfather at the end of the year would go to the end of the potato row. Potatoes. Again, we're talking about potatoes. go to the end of the potato road and he'd dig a hole, right? And we would go into the woods and we would take an old blanket of my grandma's and fill them full of leaves, right?
Mhm.
And drag them back up there. And he'd put it down a layer of leaves and a layer of potatoes and then throw some dirt on them, right? And then layer of leaves, a layer of potatoes, and throw some dirt on them. And then at the end of the day, we would cover the potatoes with a mound and he would make a little hole and cover it with a piece of tin. And so all winter, my grandma would send me to the potato patch and I would dig out potatoes out of this mound and they would still be good. They were insulated to keep from freezing because we don't have the winters y'all have down here, right?
Right.
So, but then, also talking about that, if I'm going to tell the story, I'm going to tell this story too, but she would grow a row of cabbage. Well, she grew several rows of cabbage, but she'd grow one row of cabbage. And then when the season was over, my grandfather would put a furrow beside that and she would pull those cabbage up and turn them upside down and put them down in that hole, right?
Yeah.
And then my grandfather would come back and cover them all up and the roots would be sticking up out of the ground. So I would go, when she'd tell me to go get a cabbage, I'd go out there and take a hammer because the ground was frozen, right? And pull one of these cabbages and it'd be just as white, as snow. It was the best damn cabbage ever, that white cabbage. And I don't do that here. I should do that because I love that cabbage. But, my grandfather was born in 1898. My grandmother was born in 1912 or 1910. And so they grew up. My grandfather fought in World War I. They both grew up and were married through the entire Depression, had children of their own, right? And they made their living farming. So they knew how to keep stuff, right? And I wished I'd have paid a little more damn attention. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
I've had to relearn a lot of the stuff that my grandmother took a long time to teach me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Same here. I know the feeling. I mean,
Yeah, my grandmother taught me how to cook in the cast iron pan. She did not teach me how to clean the cast iron pan.
that's a good one to learn.
Yes. Yes. Let's see. So Grit and Grace has a good one. Does anybody know or have the knowledge on how to salt cure meats?
Thank you.
Ooh, show intel. Thank you so much for the donation. That's awesome.
Thank you.
no, I do not know how to salt cure meats. No.
No,
I
I would just.
the literature in the house now. It is something that my wife and I have talked about learning how to do, but no, I don't know how to do it. I have the literature in the house to do it with, but I've never done it. So I want to do that. That is definitely something. Yeah, especially like you, Mike, up there where you've got the abundance of game.
Yeah.
When you bring down a deer, eating a deer is hard to do before it's full, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pending temperature. If you're over 60 degrees, you've got a matter of hours to get that thing cold and get it dealt with before bacteria starts to grow on your meat. So, time is of the essence when it comes to that. I've actually lost deer that I've killed because I couldn't recover them the night that I put them down, and the next morning I went back and it got warm overnight, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's a race against time, especially when the temperatures are up. Thankfully it gets cold here and we're able to deal with some of these things. You got to the other end of the coin is you got to get to it before it freezes solid, and then you're not getting a knife in the thing.
Yeah.
So there's a double-edged sword living in the Northeast. I often say our wardrobes are twice the size of a Southerner's.
Yeah.
Because we've got layers and layers and layers, and if you're a working man like me, you probably have two sets of clothes. You have your good clothes and you have your work clothes. So the wardrobe is full. The wardrobe is full.
Yep.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
We got 3 Northeasterns here and 1 Southern boy. So
Enjoy your t-shirts, half-assed.
yeah, right.
No. It gets a little chilly in the mountains, but
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
not so bad. Not so bad as you got to get it. No. But that's the other thing though. When deer season kicks off here in September,
Yep. Same here.
it's freaking hot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there are days I have deer hunted in 90-degree temperature now.
Yep.
And yeah, you don't have a lot of time to
Yep.
get that deer cooled off. And
Same here in Ohio. Deer season kicks off the third week of September and runs till through the first weekend of February. So
Wow. You guys get a long one. You get a long one.
we don't. Yeah, we don't.
October 1st, the first arrow flies here in New York, and then you can, if you hunt with muzzleloader, bow, and rifle or shotgun, you can hunt straight through till New Year's Day.
okay.
Nice. Very
Our
nice.
gun season's not very long. We have a 1 week gun season, and then there's usually a little extra, like a weekend.
Yeah,
But
it's
if you
how
just
we do
hunt
it.
with a bow or something, yeah, you've got a long time. So
Yeah, but bear season's pretty short down here, and I do bear hunt, and
we don't have a bear season. We don't have bear.
but yeah, we it's all of our seasons are pretty short down here, man. But again, man, the bear and the deer kind of tourist traps for us down here, man.
Yeah.
You go up here in Asheville area just to see the damn wildlife, and so they're strict as they can be about it down here.
I actually have a good friend who moved down to Asheville from here. He was a neighbor actually, and he lives in your neck of the woods now. Half-ass. I'll have to introduce you to, because he's a good dude. He's a plumber by trade, so and a damn good one too.
Well, he's a busy fellow if he's down here. I can tell you that.
I'm sure.
There's a good one. So what's
Ooh.
your guys' thought on trapping? Do you trap at all, or do you think trapping is a good thing to learn?
I think trapping is a fantastic skill to learn, and I need to learn more about it. I do have a bunch of snares and wires to make snares. My uncle is actually a trapper, and he's getting a little bit older, so I think it's time to go have a couple lunches and maybe some outings with my uncle and pick up some of those skills, because it's passive protein, trapping. You don't have to be present to harvest. So it's huge in a world where you're needed in many places at once to be able to passively grab that up.
Yes.
Yep, that's a great point. Now, I don't trap. I'm with Mike. I need to learn more about it. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like Mike said, you're not sitting out in the woods all day. It doesn't take away your time. You just go check your traps and yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I trapped when I was younger. I haven't trapped in years, but had a friend of mine but we didn't trap for meat. We trapped for skins, muskrat.
Mm.
And now that friend of mine is now a game hunter in England. He takes people into Russia and everything, and a game guide out there. But
That's awesome.
yeah, we did that growing up, man, around these little creeks here, trap muskrats. And but I haven't done it in years, and I still have some equipment, but that's probably something a guy should that should be a prep for everyone. I mean, that may be something you have to learn on the fly.
Yeah, I do have some smaller foot traps and things like that, but I don't know enough about them. I remember some things from going out with my uncle when I was younger, but there's a lot of holes in that knowledge at this point. It's been a long time, 30 plus years since I've been on a trap line. So I'm not going to say I know trapping, but a little bit, but not enough to get by. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And,
Well, that brings up a really good one.
yeah.
So Grit and Grace is talking about tanning the hides. Do you also think that if we're going to hunt or trap, is that important as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to, being an outdoorsman and a hunter, you want to use every piece of the animal possible. That's my philosophy anyway. Some people are wasteful and it bothers me. But yeah, I think if you can tan those hides, it's durable goods, right? Deer leather is leather, honestly. So they would be extremely useful, especially for warmth, mittens, boots, anything like that. You could make a coat out of deer hide, and a fantastic camouflage too. I mean, I don't know if you hit one of them with your car like everybody else does, but they're pretty camouflaged until they jump out in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's a good point. My grandfather was American Indian, and they don't let anything go to waste.
Yeah.
when they hunt things. And I'm like you, what you were saying earlier. I wish I would have paid a little more attention when I was young, but hindsight. So,
yeah. Well, again, yeah, I'll feel you. I don't like wasting anything either, but
yeah,
it's just it's a skill that I've never thought about putting effort into. And I mean, I know some. I had a cousin who's a taxidermist, and I do know that every animal has enough brains to tan its own hide.
That's right.
I
That's
do
right.
know that, but again, and I've watched some videos and seen some things, but again, that would be a skill I would have to learn.
Rural CUCV Farmer made a really good comment. He says, in the 1930s and 1940s, a lot of wild game just about became extinct because people were hunting them for food because they couldn't afford to buy food. Now, my standpoint on this is, if you are preparing to survive SHTF hunting and trapping, right? That's your go-to. That's what you're going to do. That's how you're going to get by. I'm going to fish. I'm going to hunt. You and every freaking buddy else, bro. You and everybody else that I talk to is going in the woods to hunt and fish. I saw a statistic today. There is 1.2 million white-tailed deer estimated population in the People's Republic of New Yorkistan. If you and your 1.10 million other friends go out into the woods to hunt these things, by the end of the week, there is going to be 3 deer left. Okay. 3 deer left, and you will never, ever see them again. They are scared. They are running. They are hiding, and you'll never see them again. Wild game was hunted to near extinction. The wild turkey was actually eradicated from the state of New York. New York had to create a program with, I think it was Kentucky, and we gave Kentucky white-tailed deer, which were eradicated down there, and they gave us wild turkeys, and we now have a breeding wild turkey population. And this has happened before, and it will happen again, especially when times get really, really hard. I heard stories of, if they heard crows outside, they would grab the shotgun and run to the door to see if they could blast a crow just to get some extra protein for the table. This wasn't uncommon, and it happened frequently. Livingston Man and I talked about this a long time ago when we asked how long we thought until wild game was eradicated. And, some folks gave figures of 6 months, and some were more like a year and a half. I'm more in the year and a half because of the migratory birds that we have here. Lots of Canadian geese and things like that. So year and a half of wild game after a true, collapse of society. I think you got about a year and a half. And I think within the first year, you won't see them anymore, and it'll be a rarity. It's like, oh, wow, look, a bird.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to take long at all. And it's going to be a mess, too.
Yeah.
If we get a lot of hunters down in my area from the big cities, Akron, Canton, Cleveland. And you can always tell if you're out in the woods when there's somebody from the city out hunting, especially during gun season, because you're hear one boom, off in the distance, and then you'll hear one over here, and then somebody will just unload. It's not so bad now that they got the limited amount of slugs you can carry, but back when I was younger and they didn't have that, you would hear somebody just unload their entire gun, boom, 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 boom. And you knew it was somebody from the city that, and I had a friend that used to work before the internet, when that used to work at the check-in station, because if you shot a deer, you had to take it to the check-in station back in those days. You didn't have the internet and all that. And he would tell me stories about people bringing in goats, dogs. Somebody even brought in a dairy cow once and said, look at the size of this doe I shot. It's bad enough to shoot it, but to actually load it into your truck and take it to the check-in station.
That's the impressive part. They got it in the truck.
Yeah.
The farmers up here will spray paint the cows cow and the horses horse before gun season, because we get so many folks up from we're only 2 hours north of New York City, but I promise you it's a completely different world here.
Absolutely.
We are the breadbasket that feeds New York City. And we give them their water, too. Right over in the Catskills, there's a lot of flooded towns with aqueducts that we provide everything to New York City.
Yep. Nice. Half Ready, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think back on and again, this is a discussion we have in my MAG a lot, but think back on the book 1 second after. If that's your plan, and look, you have a plan. I'm not criticizing anybody's plan if that's your plan, but you need to be prepared within a few weeks to widen your circle on where you're going to hunt. And that circle is going to continue to get wider and wider and wider until you're going to send out groups of hunters and they're going to be gone for days before they come back with game. If that's your plan, that's my theory, my opinion, what I prep for as far as wild game. I think you're much better off raising meat animals at your house, rabbits, chickens, goats, whatever the hell it is. I'm just,
but you're going to have
I think you're better off there, and then your neighbors are going to be hunting you.
Yep.
Right.
You know, instead of you hunting the deer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we definitely need to be prepared for if that's your plan.
Yep.
Right?
And if you're going to raise
that's my thoughts on it. Right
if
there.
you're going to raise your own game, you're going to have to protect it, because once the wildlife is gone, they're going to come after your cows and your chickens and so on and so forth. So,
well, not only two-legged, but if you're taking out the food source, those predatory animals need to eat too, so they're going to come after your stuff too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, but that brings on High Country Homestead, brings up a good point here. So they have wild pig, and sum this up, people don't go after them because they're worried about worms and, well, diseases and other things. I wonder how many of the people that's their plan don't know how to differentiate. I got this. Should I eat it?
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of waste when it comes to this, because let's face it, folks, common sense is damn near a superpower nowadays.
Absolutely.
It is not common at all. And folks will get sick. Folks will die from eating spoiled meat, tainted meat, things like that. It's an unfortunate side effect, man. My standpoint is cook everything thoroughly. I don't care if it's a little extra crispy. I'm going to make sure it's done and not get sick from something, and make sure I can kill any bacteria or viruses that would be in it. And hope for the best, right? I've been cooking for a while. I've been doing okay so far, but when cross contamination is a real threat, you have to be a lot more careful. Your sanitation and things like that in an austere environment, or a true cataclysm. Sanitation is going to be top of the food chain, man. Right next to water. Water and sanitation are going to go hand in hand.
Yeah. Moonsprouts had a good comment. Do you see Moonsprouts? It says 3 domestic rabbits can produce more meat than a cow in a year, and are amazing protein solution for even the smallest homestead. Plus, they eat weeds and produce fertilizer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, Moonsprouts.
Yeah. So. It's important to diversify too, man. You don't get fat on rabbits alone. That's for sure. You can actually eat rabbit every day and starve. Because you're lacking in basic nutrition,
Yeah, I read a report somewhere about that with chicken. You can if you add chicken, if it's all you had, you will starve to death. It takes a while. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. But it's the same thing in the Marines. When I went to survival school, they taught us that you could eat the bottom of a cattail, right? And it's safe to eat, but it has zero nutrition. So you could eat that son of a bitch and die in a week, right? Eating every day with your belly full, walking around rubbing your belly and burping and all that shit, but you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Celery has no calories, really. So.
Right. I think cucumbers are the same thing. I don't think cucumbers have any calories. They're delicious.
Right.
So Katrinka says she did a video about a couple of benefits of a personal SHTF, and she wants to know what the panel thinks. What could be benefits when you have a personal SHTF?
Oh man, I tell you what, my personal SHTF this year, my preps really saved my butt, man. Really saved my butt. I walked away from my career and I sat home for 2 months with no paycheck. The the meat that I put in the freezer deer season, the meat that I put in the freezer from the farmer back in the fall when times were good and money was available, the decisions I made then really are still carrying us through today. I had steak today that I bought in the fall from the farmer, from the cows down the road. I can send you a picture of the cows that I eat.
Nice.
Well, as far as the benefits of a personal SHTF, assuming it's not a long-term thing, you'll learn your weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know, if you got to use your preps, you'll say, you know what, you'll find out what you're short on, what you need to work on. So,
yeah,
a short-term thing. If it's long-term, well, then it's too late. But, get an idea for what you need to work on, areas you need to learn some skills or add to your preps, or things like that. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
and that's why we go practice. That's why we go out in the woods and practice our skills, because you learn things. You learn what you need to work on and areas that you need to improve on and stuff. So
yeah. Well, me and everybody else in Western North Carolina had our own personal SHTF back in September.
right.
And, it was very beneficial. I mean, look, it sucked. Don't get me wrong. It didn't suck so bad at my house, but it sucked. And, but I did, well, I'll tell you what, it was a real good way to know who in my circle I can count on and who I'm going to have to go save. Right.
yeah.
And it was a chance to meet my neighbors and figure that out. But yeah, it was a great chance to test the preps that I've made and make sure everything worked like it was supposed to work. But, and then of course in January I had my own personal SHTF, but thank God I had good insurance and a really wonderful wife who saw me through. But, there are benefits to a personal shit hit the fan, but I mean, it's still a struggle, or we wouldn't call it shit hit the fan, right?
Yep.
Right.
So there you go. You get to find out a little bit about what's in here, man. And everybody, man, everybody needs to be punched in the mouth every once in a while, just to,
Humble yourself.
Yeah, it's not comfortable. No, but at the end of the day, you find out what kind of a human being you are. And whether or not you're a snowflake, and most of the folks over in that chat room are not snowflakes. I'm just, they're not.
True story.
Yep. So I will add to it while everybody in the chat goes ahead and drops more questions in there for us. A benefit for a personal SHTF. Mike, you just went and shared your video where you went airsoft. That's simulation training. Do you think that's real going to, be the same thing as a gun battle?
Oh, no way. No way. But some of the movements are the same. Lowering and raising a rifle, that's all the same. Using cover and concealment, that's all the same. Some of the same tactics that you would use. No, it's not exactly the same, but it's a step in the right direction, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that's why you need one of those personal SHTF, because we can simulate and train and practice, but until it's the real deal, that's a whole different ball game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see Son's got a question.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation, the Solomons.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a big Solomon guy.
Yep. Yep. I was on the Merrills for a while, and I found that they were leaking on me really bad. Up here we get heavy dew in the mornings, and walking across a grassy lawn was enough that my feet would be wet all day long. And it really bummed me out. And I went through pair after pair after pair of Merrills, and they just weren't working out for me, and they were like $100 a pair. It's not cheap, man. It's an investment boots. So I stepped up and I paid a little more. I got the Solomons, and I've been much, much happier with those than I was with the Merrills, because they stay waterproof for a long time. So,
I agree with what JBS says.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm a
Find the
huge
boot that fits
Chippewa
for you
fan.
and
I
works well.
love the
And
Chippewas, but
everybody's got to.
they're expensive.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a good boot. I mean, it's a heavy
But
boot.
yeah, and you want to make sure your feet stay dry.
But yeah, they do keep you dry and warm. And yeah, I'm a big Chippewa guy too. But my everyday get home boot is the Merrell MOAB tactical. I love the boot. It's comfortable. But again, I don't have to cross a shitload of water to get home, unless it's during fucking Hurricane Helene. But
Right.
Friggin' you, Hurricane Helene. Sorry, y'all.
So I do wear another pair of boots. Hunting season, I have a pair of Irish setters that I wear. Hunting boots. Those are pretty solid. And of course the big rubber muck boots, man. You got to have a pair of those, right? That's for when the BS is getting deep. You got to put on the knee-high boots.
Yep. And then make sure too, I'll throw in 2 cents. Make sure that you can afford the shoe. Don't go broke buying, a high-end shoe or something like that. Find something that is good for you that you can afford, and buy for your area. If you're in New Mexico, maybe you don't need muck boots as much as we do up here. So
yeah,
And
very true.
Socks on you.
But
yes,
yeah.
Change your damn socks.
Right.
Look, week 1 in boot camp, change your damn socks. Change your socks. Change them all
Wool socks. Wool socks. You need wool socks. Merino wool socks. Buy wool socks. Up here in the Northeast, gets really, really cold in the wintertime, and your feet are always in snow and ice. So I ripped the inserts out of my Irish setters, and I put alpaca wool liners in the bottom. They're super beneficial, and I also have alpaca socks as well for when it's really, really cold and I'm going to be sitting in the woods all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good socks will save your ass. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Well, it did get out of not being able to afford the Mac Daddy boot, right? You can't.
Oh, for sure.
Boot, but don't cut corners on the sock, okay?
Yep.
Because they and I'm telling you, man, when you're moving, if you're moving. If you've got miles to go before you sleep, change your damn socks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, it will save you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of what Savage Lee here says on having this for flip flops. That's great, but I mean, I don't know about you guys. I would always have something with me. If I'm just running down to the gas station to grab bread that I forgot or whatever. I'm going to take some tennis shoes or boots and throw it in the car, leave it in the car.
I don't leave the house in open-toed shoes or Crocs or anything like that. If I leave the house, I have tennis shoes or boots on.
Yeah, just don't show up to SHTF with your flops on, savagely. Right. That's all.
Yeah. Now, I might wear Crocs and that around the house, but I'm here. If I leave the house, I have actual shoes on, just in case. So
yes, that is true, QB. That is very true.
Rob B, the Irish setters that I have are not something you would want to wear in the summertime. These are big, super insulated boots. I think they're 1,000-gram Thinsulate boot plus the alpaca liner in the bottom. So definitely not something that's geared for summertime. You'd have swamp foot in no time. They're waterproof, but they'd be buckets of sweat in your feet.
And everybody's going straight through with all the
Croc jokes.
The Croc jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, look, I wear them too. I have them, but yeah, I'm with you, Chip. I never leave the house without my shoes on.
Right.
But I also keep a pair of boots in my vehicle.
Yep.
Because sometimes I do leave the house in my running shoes.
Right. Yeah. I keep a pair of waterproof hiking boots in my vehicle in case, I might be wearing tennis shoes when I'm out, but, if something happens and I got to come home and it decides to pour down rain or something, I don't want to be in my tennis shoes, So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wet feet is miserable.
Right.
Freaking miserable, man. don't give a damn how many times you change your socks.
Right.
Yep.
That means
Yep.
suck.
Yeah, your socks are where your feet meet your shoes, man. You got to have good socks, a decent pair of footwear, something that's broken in, right? I mean, you don't want to buy a brand new pair of boots and throw them underneath the back seat in your truck and say, "These are my shit at the fan boots, bro. Shit hits the fan. I'm putting these tactical Tommies on and we're going concrete stomping, bro." You're going to go stomping for about 20 minutes and then you're going to have the biggest blister on your heel you ever seen in your life. It's going to look like this right here. It's going to look like this. And then it's going to pop. And then it's going to pop.
Moleskin in your first aid kit.
And then you ain't walking. Because I bought the Tommy Tacticals, bro, and they're brand new in the box underneath the back seat. Never even wore them.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Which that brings me up a good question. So I'm going to go ahead and say that all of us on panel are 2A owners, correct?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here's a question. Do you guys take your 2A and do maintenance on them? Do you wipe them down, clean them out, check them over?
Oh, yeah.
Do you do the same thing with your boots?
Yeah.
Yep.
I do. But again, I make my living on my feet. I don't have a stool at my parts house. Okay. If you come to my parts house and want to sit down and order parts, good luck. Find a bucket. But I make my living on my feet, and yeah, I take care of I even take care of my tennis shoes. I even maintain my tennis shoes.
Yep. Keep them clean. Keep them in good shape.
Yeah.
Yep. Lace maintenance is the big one for me. I being in the trades and constantly up and down and kneeling, laces get frayed.
Yep.
They get messed up. Grit and grace, a good point there. Insoles, sometimes, jumping and bumping and up and down ladders and stuff, you have to, you end up crushing the insoles that are in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to replace those things, man. They're wear parts, right? Laces, insoles, things like that, wear parts.
I replace most of my laces with paracord because it's
You
a
can
lot
do that.
sturdier. It'll hold up a lot more than just a regular old pair of shoelaces. So.
Shoelaces is a prep that I ran into about 3 years ago. I ended up with 2 pairs of my favorite boots that had shitty laces, and I I'm like, well, hell, I don't have any damn shoelaces, right? So now I went to Walmart and bought a shitload of shoelaces, different sizes for different boots, right? Mm-hmm. It's just in my preps. And yeah, it's a good prep. I've never thought to tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Right. That's a great thing to tell everybody.
Yep. If I get a new pair of boots or shoes, usually the first thing I do is take the shoelaces out and replace them with paracord. Eat up the end, you can make a hard section long enough to stick through all the holes and all that, and then it holds up so much better than a regular pair of shoelaces,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm. I love what Pal Male Paratrooper just said, but I wonder if y'all have the same problem I have. When you get that pair of boots that you really just freaking love,
mm-hmm.
I'm not taking them some bitches off till they're dead. Dead. I'm wearing that pair of boots. I wish I could do that. Put the boots away when they've got a couple of years use on them. But when I find a pair of boots I love, I'm wearing them damn things out.
I tell you what, if you find a pair of boots that you love and you really love them, and within like the first 6 or 8 months that these are the boots, man, I made the right choice. These are the boots for me. Buy another pair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the ones you have. They go out of style really fast, and companies are quick to change everything about them, right? So the next pair that you get when you eventually wear these things out, because a good pair of boots should last you a year, I'd say, in the trades, me kicking around about a year. So within that 6 months, I'd have to buy another pair immediately. So buy 2 pair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, once you know, get them because they change so fast, man. They change so fast.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And buy 3 pair. That's another one right there. And there's a lot.
Dan Birch, good to see you, brother.
When people get into preparedness, they get into it usually because they have a specific skill. It's 2A, they're tack guys. or they're really good at farming and growing, or, you know, medical or whatever, and they really gear into that, but they don't realize that you can take that same stuff that you're doing into all your other preps. So just because you pull out your firearm and clean it and check it and replace parts and do this, do that with your boots, do that with your gardening equipment, do that with, you know, your medical,
your rain fly, your tent, everything, man, everything. You got to take this stuff out. You got to use it. You have to train with it. You have to know that it's going to work for you. Don't guess it's gonna, right?
Yep,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
on all that. Which
My 60-pound lap dog needed some time.
that's all right. We have room for another guest on the panel, and if the puppy wants to chime in, go ahead.
Yeah, Maggie has. There you go. That's what she
Yes.
has to say. Let's go to that.
If I opened the door and let mine in, they'd be doing the same thing.
Well, as you can see, I left the door open. And that's
Yeah.
all.
JBS has a really great one. So, how important is it to cross train?
Super important, especially if you're planning on working with people, man. You want to get them out there. Make sure if you're having a training event or anything like that, invite them, especially your locals, man. Tell them, come on out. We're going to go have some fun. You know, we're going to run around and play some airsoft today. And I kind of want to work with you as a team through this. Do you mind coming with me? Or exactly, Billy says, let's go camping. Hey, let's go camping and test out this gear that we got. Let's do a gear test weekend. That's how my bug out bag weekend started. It was just, hey, I got this gear I got to go test out. Let's get together and do it. And it evolved into something much, much bigger. So it's a step in the right direction. It's getting you some woods time and some time with your gear. Get out there and do it, man. Cross train, bring those people out with you as often as you can.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. We go camping, and the kids do more glamour camping, but they're not. We try to talk them into prepping, but they're not. They do a little bit, but the grandsons hang out with grandpa and learn how to make fires and do things. So I've told them, I said, listen, you guys are going to have to save your parents, okay? Because your parents aren't going to make it 10 minutes. So, and they're pretty good. So
Awesome.
at least I got somebody in the family going in the right direction. So
Yeah, it's important, especially if there's 2A stuff involved, that you know the folks that you're going to be toting with ain't going to shoot you in the ass, okay? I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
Friendly fire will, you know, I mean, you need to know their limitations and your limitations, and you can't do that just by having a conversation. You have to go do that.
Yep.
You know, you have to know their strengths and their weaknesses too, as well as your own.
Mhm.
Yes, which Dan's got a good point I'm going to bring up here in a second. But my next question as a follow-up to this is, well, Mike, you're inviting me out to airsoft. That doesn't sound really fun. Or Half Ready, you want me to come do a medical class, and I'm queasy on blood. Or OVP, you want me to learn how to grow? I can kill a plastic plant. How do you talk those naysayers?
That's a tough one, man. I would say just keep planting the seeds, and try and coax them along, especially if it's somebody that you really care about, you really want to make it through an SHTF. Maybe give them a plant, right? Maybe take them out and shoot some tin cans in your backyard with the airsoft gun and let them see how cool it is and see how they handle it and whatnot. Plant the seeds, man. Plant the seeds. Make it fun. Make it entertaining. Make it interesting. That's something that we try to do here at Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, is make it a little more fun. Make it entertaining.
Yeah.
Sure, the points are the same, but I want to tell you in a way that is going to capture your attention and keep you there for a little while, so that I can drill that information in your head.
and like Grit and Grace just said, encouragement goes a long way. Yeah, you give them people positive reinforcement too. Hey,
Yeah.
You'll get it. You're going to do it okay. You'll be okay. You'll get this. You're doing a good job. Keep their spirits up so they don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I think there's two types of people when it comes to learning: those who need the tough love, right?
Yeah.
And those who need the encouragement, the positive reinforcement, and the coaxing along the way. My friend is really good at the beating you over the head with it, right? If you need to be told and scolded into compliance, he is the guy for the job. 100%. I am not that guy. So when it comes to trying to work people into the fold, if I'm like, hey man, I'm not really getting through to this guy, he's like, I got this. And, goes in and hammers them. And he's like, what are you going to do? What are your kids going to eat, fool? What is going to happen when everything falls apart? Think about this. And next thing you know, they're joining the prepping page. They're asking the questions. You're helping them at the range. Things like that, man. It evolves, but it's important to know who you're working with. That's the big one.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good point. I learned that when I was management in the casino industry, that everybody is motivated different ways. Some you have to be, walking on eggshells, and some you got to get in their face, and that's how they, I don't know, that's how you get them to do what it is that you need them to do.
Yeah, you get them to snap out of it, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep. Half ready. What's your thoughts?
Well, again, yeah, you're not going to drag the horse to water and make him drink. Okay, you're not.
Nope.
But and I have been perfect example of what we're talking about, right? I've been making these suggestions and talking to my coworkers, folks around my neighborhood, family members. Then we got a Hurricane Helene. It was amazing how many people finally had questions. How do I get started in this? How did you get started in this? How did this happen? And then folks wanted my son to teach him how to shoot and teach him how to hunt and teach him how to garden. It was amazing how that event changed the way a lot of folks think. But as far as dragging it, I mean, again, I tell folks what I do, tell folks what I would do, tell folks what they should do. If they're not drinking the Kool-Aid, just take the Kool-Aid somewhere else, right?
That's a good one. That's a good one. And Dan Birch brings up different environments, different weather, change it up. So you're telling me that I have to go out there with you guys at 2 a.m. while it's storming?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's your poncho?
Yep.
I know you got a poncho.
Yeah. You schedule the training, you do the training when it's scheduled.
Yep.
Don't matter. You think they wave off boot camp because it's 102 or it's 20 and it's raining?
Nope.
You
SHTF does not care what the weather is.
Nope.
Well, your
Sometimes-
survival shouldn't care.
Yeah, sometimes SHTF is the weather. So
Yeah. Ask Mark about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, seriously, man, you should not. You have to be able to perform when your very damn survival depends on you getting food, water, sanitation in your home. It don't freaking matter. Do you want to die or do you want to go out and get your ass wet?
Yep.
You get your ass wet, man.
Yeah.
You get cold. You do your best to prepare not to freeze to death, not to get frostbitten, not to drown.
Yeah.
But you still got to go out and do those things. You have to. It's survival. Right?
And if you're prepared, the weather shouldn't be a big deal. Look at bug out weekend. Okay, we had a couple big storms roll through. Was it Friday night at bug out weekend? And it was no big deal. Like, nobody had a problem. We were all, everybody was fine.
That's accurate.
Because we were ready for it. We knew it was coming for one thing because everybody looked at the weather before, and everybody was ready for it, and it was no problem.
No, it wasn't a big deal. Well, I was a scoutmaster for 12 years, right? So the boys have 1 day of the year. They plan the entire year. We have an event every month. They plan the whole damn year at one time, right? So the schedule's made. So Friday, I'm gathering the boys up. We're getting ready to go off on this camping trip. And mom shows up to drop the boy off. It's going to rain. Yeah, it's probably going to rain.
Mm-hmm.
We're going camping.
Mm-hmm.
We're going camping. We're doing it. We schedule it. We did it. it is what, except the time we camped in the cave. We camped in a cave one time. Didn't matter what the damn weather was. 58 degrees down there. Don't matter.
You're drinking, the SHTF popcorn.
Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of Bug Out Weekend.
Yeah.
Storms call for popcorn.
That's right. That's right.
Popcorn was cool, man. I hadn't done Jiffy Pop in a long time. I enjoyed that.
Hey, sometimes you just got to prepare, right?
Yeah.
That's right, bro. Yeah. But it's going to be real funny when your generator's on the blink and you really want some microwave popcorn, huh? Better have you some damn Jiffy Pop and a camp stove.
Yep.
We've talked about it all the time. Somebody's like, well, I can't do it. I don't have the comforts. I'm going to be eating ice cream during SHTF.
There
You know? I mean, take your excuse somewhere else. If you want it, you will figure out a way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the luxury preps. You know, I love the luxury prep, right? But that's morale booster, right?
hmm
Look, my wife and I were trapped here 15 days, no power, no communications. But a damn bag of M&Ms was all cool as hell.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It was a boost. And look, imagine you're going through that for months, right? Months. You're 4 months in, and you find that bag of Skittles in the bottom of that MRE, dude.
Mhm.
Hell yeah, I feel great today. I got Skittles, right?
Yeah.
Freeze dried too.
Those preps like that are priceless. They're priceless, and they don't take up that much room, right?
hmm
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it's a luxury. Yeah, but again, man, morale is going to be important too.
hmm
Absolutely.
I found a company that makes freeze dried candy, and she does a really good job. She's not afraid to throw some weird stuff in the freeze dryer and see what it does. Incredible stuff. On Point Adventure Foods, fantastic. No affiliation, but a little home run business, and she does all of the trade shows in the Pennsylvania area, and she makes great stuff, man. Great stuff. She's got all kinds of candies. Some of your favorites, Charleston Chews. They puff up. They look like little footballs, right? Freeze dried Charleston Chew is no joke, man. That will change your world. The toffees, the little like Werther's Originals, freeze dried, man. You drop one of them in a cup of coffee. I'm telling you. I'm gonna
have to try some of that.
Yeah. On Point Adventure Foods. Great little tiny company. Great woman who runs it. Super nice, super personable. She started it because her husband did a lot of elk hunting, and he'd do a lot of backpacking, and he would come back so bloated from all the salt and everything. And she was like, buy me a freeze dryer, buy me a freeze dryer, buy me a freeze dryer. And he bought her a freeze dryer. And he bought her a big one. He said, here, you're not just going to make it for me, you might as well, try some cool stuff. So she does. And she packages it and sells it. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice. I love it. All right. So we have hit our hour. Before we do final thoughts, Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody where they can come find you.
You can find Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival at www.hudsonvalleypreppingandsurvival.com. That's one place. You can find us here on YouTube at Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. You can find us on Facebook, the Facebook group Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. There's a Facebook page, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. There's a Hudson Valley Prepping Survival Instagram page, the TikTok, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Yes.
That was easy.
And your hunting channel. Don't forget about
Oh, that's right. Hunting the Hudson Valley, too. I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, you can't forget that one. So before we do final thoughts, I am going to stream this down here. If you guys are interested in following Mike, because maybe you don't know who he is, I think everybody should know who you are. I
Appreciate it.
Your channel down in the description section.
Thank you.
Anybody wants to be on panel, all of our email addresses are there. Just go in the description, email any one of us and just say, hey, I want to be on panel. And we'll work our best to get you in. But how about we do final thoughts, and how about we pick on you, Hal Freddy?
Yeah. Look, great conversation tonight, Mike. Thanks again for coming by.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for having me.
But yeah, stay ready, y'all, and tell the ones you love that you love them. Thank you, High Country Homestead. I love to see that from Australia here, and I hope you had a good time. Everyone who's here new, I hope y'all had a good time. But good night. I'll kick it up to you, Chip.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Mike, for coming on and giving us some great information. I guess you're this way. And
Mike,
we appreciate it. You know, this was kind of inspired by the Four Horsemen. So what better way to kick it off than have one of the Four Horsemen
Thank you.
on for our first guest. And we appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming. Like Mark said, just keep prepping, keep practicing, stay alert, and God bless everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Yes. Mike, final thought?
Ooh, keep your head on a swivel, folks. I think that there is something dastardly coming, worse than what we've been seeing here at home. So keep your guard up. Like everybody says, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
There you go.
Just pay attention. Pay attention to your surroundings. No matter where you go or where you are, have an exit strategy. Know where you need to get to, right? Don't be hanging around wondering where to go and what to do. Know where to go and know what to do. Don't leave it up to guesswork. Keep a med kit on you. Keep one in your car, and always be ready to help out, man.
Yes. Very good. Very good. I will kick it out to my final thought being, we all start out at ground level. We're in kindergarten because when you are born, you don't know how to walk, run, crawl, tie your shoes, anything. So if you're new to preparedness, this is where you come. Do not be afraid to ask questions. That's what this entire podcast is for. It goes 100% by you guys. So every week that you come back, when you think of a question, jot it down, drop in the chat, because we have guests like Mike and all the guests that we have lined up so far. Wealth of knowledge, amazing people, and they're here to answer your question. They want to help you. So make sure that you are not afraid to come out and say, hey, I don't know, because we're here to help.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
all right, guys, I appreciate it. And next week, we are going to be over on OVP. And
Right.
So if you are not subscribed, make sure you go down in the description section, find him, subscribe, so that way you can check us next week, Sunday, 8 p.m. Do we want to leave it as a surprise, or do you want to tell everybody who it is?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should wait till middle of the week or so. Leave them in suspense a little bit. What do you think?
There you go. Tie him up, OVP. Tie him up.
Love it. Love it.
That's
All
a
right, guys.
teaser.
Yeah, we just want to get Teresa worked up because she don't know all the information.
Excellent. All right. I appreciate all of you gentlemen for joining me, and I will be joining you next week, and where I don't have to host next week. So this will be really fun for me. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. Hope you guys have an amazing night and a blessed night, and we are out of here.